how did you come to this as a practice?
Well, the starting point was my back injury, and that's when I was recommended the Qigong.
Yeah.
And pretty much after a few lessons, I felt quite a substantial change. And before that, I tried a lot of things which were mostly either kind of muscle exercises or stretches. So the Qigong is neither of those. So it was a bit strange for me. So when I practice, I don't so much kind of have the physical kind of stress on the body, and I'm not trying to overstretch any part of it. But essentially, through the combination of these exercises, it helped me to, first of all, I started to feel noticeable, I guess, improvement in the area that was painful for me. I started to feel kind of build up of strength, and also at the same time certain relaxation. So there was a gradual build up of trust within the body that this area can actually kind of doesn't need to be protected and tightened around it. And together with that, it also started, well, what I also felt is overall body benefits, body and emotional benefits after the practice, as a kind of release or reboot. And I guess for me the unique feature of Qigong is that it is something very, very practical. It's not like a gym exercise. It is not quite like yoga or stretches, which are all very helpful, and I also like them, but they kind of prepare for life, whereas Qigong, by thinking and being aware of the body alignment and moving at the same time, it's actually something that I directly can practice during sitting, during talking, during walking, during standing.
I understand.
So it's quite kind of multifunctional.
Yes. I understand in your work you do a lot of travelling by plane, don't you? You take a lot of long...
So yeah, general office or travel and sitting. So it obviously takes the attention and awareness, but but it's sort of like a chicken and the egg. When there is a practical way to maintain the healthy, not only posture, not only alignment, but all of that in the movement at the same time, then it is possible to be actually aware of what's going on. And as the practice kind of was developing for me, it started with a lower back, and when I, for a few months, started to fix it, then other things started to show up. So it was a bit of a dialogue with the body, which was quite interesting, and I started to be aware of the things that I wasn't aware of.
Yes.
So and it kind of continues opening up new things and at the same time going deeper, but also opening up kind of new movements.
And that's a fascinating journey, isn't it, really, of self-discovery, I think, for all of us.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks to you. Thank you for leading and showing this. It's not only knowledge, but it's an experience.
Thank you. Thank you. You're very welcome. Lovely.
Hi, Shane.
This is Chris, everyone. And so I'm going to put the same question to each of you in turn. So how did you come to the practice of Qigong?
Well, I'd been having quite a stressful time at work, and I needed something to help me deal with that. And
do you mind saying what kind of work you do?
Advertising.
Okay.
So it can be pretty, it can be pretty hectic. And it was a particularly stressful time.
Yes.
More stressful than I'd experienced before. And so I really felt like I needed something to help me deal with that, and to calm me and just relieve the stress, really. So I discovered it on a holiday, actually.
Yes.
And I'd done a week, and Qigong was part of that week, so it was very introductory.
Yeah. And
so when I got back, I realised that it was useful, even though I'd only had to dip the toe in it.
Yeah.
And so I immediately got back and thought, I need to find a practice in a week, otherwise I know I'll forget all about it.
Yeah.
And then I've discovered your practice and your class, and came along one Saturday morning.
How long ago was that now?
Wow, it's 5 or 6 years ago.
It must be, isn't it?
Yeah. And now I can't imagine life without it, really. It's so part of my everyday, actually.
So how do you experience that in an everyday sense? I mean,
well, I find myself now in positions where I'm so much more aware of my body and position of my body and alignment, that I find myself walking down the street or even standing or sitting.
Yes.
I suddenly remember, and it helps me relax.
Yes.
It's amazing how you suddenly realise how much your shoulders are up and you're clenched up. And then having learned how to release muscles that you'd never normally, I wouldn't have been able to without Qigong. I find myself in a different state quite quickly.
Yeah.
And it's something, it feels like a secret I'm in on that other people don't know about, because people aren't aware of their bodies so much, really.
Yeah.
And how clenched and tight we are most of the time, how our shoulders are up.
Yeah.
So on a daily basis, that it almost becomes a default thing for me. You know, particularly if I'm standing or walking, I find myself trying to switch off muscles and keep the frame, but let everything just drop off. And
so it's an interesting turn of phrase there. You said switch off the muscles yet keep the frame.
That's the thing.
How would you describe that?
Well, I guess the point is that you've got your structure, but you let everything hang off that. So the muscles hang off it, but you're not just crumpling and slouching. So you keep upright, and head up, and just let everything fall away from that. So you stay in the same alignment, but let all your muscles relax and switch off, which is a very difficult thing for most people because they don't know how to do that.
Yeah, we're not taught how to.
No, and you learn your own body as well. Learn what those muscles are and where they are and how you can switch them off.
I mean, personally, I had been involved with the practice for many years, and until meeting the man that's now my teacher, Sufi Nathan Manajit, who lives in Columbus, I had no idea what this idea of genuinely releasing the tension from the flesh of the body. I didn't understand that at all. I hadn't got a clue what that actually meant. So, I owe the understanding I have of this principle to him, because that's really where the source of this information has come from. It's a lovely thing for me to pass the information on to people, because so many people are so unconsciously tensed so much of the time. I think if more people were taught how to let that tension go, how to genuinely let it go, the world would be a better place, because people are going to be not walking around carrying so much tightness and stress retained in the flesh of the body.
Totally. No, totally. I mean, it's completely changed I'd say it has transformed my life in that respect. Because before I would never have even known how to even, it wouldn't even have occurred to me that I could do it. And it's a kind of meditation without really meditating. It's because you're focusing on your body, and that's enough.
Yes.
To really to just let everything just calm and bring you into the moment.
Lovely. Great. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Shane.
Very much. So thank you very much, Madeline. Thanks very much for helping with this. So I'm going to ask the same question of yourself. So how did you come to this as a practice? When did you first discover Qigong, and what's your journey been like so far?
Well, I discovered Tai Chi a long time ago, late 80s.
And that was with my good friend Richard Coldman.
That's right, yes.
Yes, indeed. I only found that out a few days ago. Big thumbs up, Richard.
And that was what actually inspired me. But as I was saying earlier, sort of life gets in the way, and I got distracted a bit. And I tried to keep the practice up of Tai Chi, but with varying degrees of success, because some of the classes were good and some just weren't very good. And then I was diagnosed with MS about 10 years ago now, and I was recommended by a doctor I saw, Tibetan doctor actually, that I saw then, to take up acupuncture, have some acupuncture. So I started doing acupuncture, having acupuncture, but not immediately. A few years later I started having some acupuncture, and that was helpful, but I wanted something I could do myself, that I was in control of. So I discovered your class because I'd sort of moved into the area and it was a convenient place for me to go. And the benefits have been great, because I think although I did Tai Chi before, I don't think I really knew how to relax. I was more sort of concerned in sort of learning the form and learning the movements, the choreography, rather than the relaxation element. And I think that's really important. So and I'm beginning to learn. I don't say I was there yet because of the MS. I found it particularly difficult to relax my muscles. But I found, especially with the shoulders, and unfortunately I also had an accident and broke my humerus near my shoulder, and so I've been trying to recover from that for the last sort of year and a half. And it's helped a lot. I mean, I tried the exercises that I was told to do by the physiotherapy people at the hospital, and I just found I just couldn't keep them up, really, because they were something I had to force them.
Yes.
I had to force myself to do it, and this created tension.
Yes.
But I found doing the Qigong has helped me much, much more, and it's helped in a sort of subtle way get the alignment right, and which means I'm using the muscles more correctly, and this has, I think, helped it heal much better than it would have done otherwise.
And with regards to the stress, how do you find the practice helpful?
Well, I find it helps me to sleep, which is extremely important because I've had a lot of trouble with that in the past.
Yes.
So
and you find that easy?
Much deeper, better sleep.
Lovely. Very good. There's a lady that I know called Betty, and when I met her, she had for her whole life had real difficulty sleeping, and after a little bit of a while of practicing, she will wax lyrical about this. She'll be really happy to talk about this. That now her head hits the pillow, she goes through the process of releasing everything, and she's out like a light straight away and sleeps right the way through. And for her whole life she's had trouble sleeping, but she doesn't have any trouble now. So that's she's changed a habit of a lifetime there. And I think one of the things that this practice provides for any of us is the opportunity to assess how to do things differently in our own bodies, how to make the necessary adjustments and changes so that we don't end up, as we age, falling into bad habits and getting really bad postures and then worse back problems and neck problems and so on and so forth, or even getting into a more negative attitude towards the body. I believe wholeheartedly that it's really important that we develop a kind and caring dialogue from ourselves towards the vehicle that we live in, so the parts of the body that normally people are maybe unconscious of, and speak kindly and encouragingly to the body, to encourage it to trust in its own ability to readjust and rebalance itself. I think that's a really important thing. So, lovely, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Pierre.
Hi, Cheyne.
Good to see you. Once again, the same question. How did you arrive at the practice of Qigong? How long have I known you now?
About 2 years, I think.
2 years, yeah.
About 2 years. Prior to that, I had an interest and an involvement in martial arts. I did the karate when I was younger. I did self-defense more recently. So that was really an aspect which really brought me or took me to Qigong. But also when I started training with you, I was a student, a shiatsu student. And for me, the Qi, this subtle energy, whether this is shiatsu or whether this is Qigong, whether this is other techniques like Reiki or Aikido, you find it in different areas. And studying shiatsu, I had a profound interest in the Chinese medicine, but knowing that Qigong means, in Chinese, means the study or research of Qi, that really interested me. What I found, obviously, as has been described before, a connection with my body, a greater connection with my body, in terms of relaxation and muscle relaxation and a flow of energy, a greater flow of energy. But that also really helped me in my practice of shiatsu, because really probably in terms of posture, you know, because when you practice a discipline like shiatsu, you're on the floor, on a futon, and you need to move around your receiver, your client, and this is where Qigong has so much in common in terms of how your body moves around and is positioned, and the receiver feels it. He feels if you are relaxed and if you are at ease, and if you come from your center, and if that chi flows, immediately the receiver feels it, as opposed if you're cramped and stiff and etc.
Say, with regards to stress, I mean, the world at large is suffering terribly from manifestations of stress-related illness. So how would you say the practice assists you to de-stress?
Big, significant energy blockages release. Aspects of myself I had a vague idea about, but not fully. And then when I trained with you, particularly one-to-one, that gave me an even greater opportunity, or that gave this body, rather than me, this body, to release blockages which as I said, I vaguely, you know, sussed or, and over time, this has felt really beneficial. An aspect of Qigong which I really like, and it's been mentioned before as well in a way, because I don't need to sit and meditate so much as before. The practice of Qigong, a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, is, for me, bliss. It's bliss. It's so fulfilling inside this body-mind, which can be really correlated to a meditation. For me, it's like a meditation. So, and then that can be translated in your everyday life in terms of connection with yourself. And I take an example when if I'm standing in the tube, standing up in the tube in the crowd for 20 minutes, it will become a natural, automatic, second nature to position myself in a Qigong way, whereby the energy flows, as opposed to being stuck in some joints, in some parts of the spine. What I could say also is that until recently, for the last 15 years, I was teaching in a GCSE and sixth form college. I know what teaching is. What I really want to say is that, of course, you are a very experienced Qigong practitioner with many years of experience, but as well as being a practitioner, you are a tremendous teacher. You have a skill, a knowledge, something innate in you. I've been teaching in a college for 15 years, many colleagues, myself. I know what teaching entails, and I've rarely seen people outside the educational system, the school system, where there are bodies controlling, training you, teacher training, that kind of thing. I've rarely seen people offering a discipline, whatever it is, with that precision of teaching. And finally, talking about teaching, my plan is next year to start a 2-year Qigong teacher training course.
Very good.
Because I want to add that to my shiatsu practice, particularly in terms of recommendation to my clients. I already start to do it, but I give them 1 or 2 or 3 little exercises, but I want to do something more substantial in that area. I know hardly nothing about yoga, for example, so I cannot recommend anything for yoga, but I really want to be able to recommend Qigong to my clients and organize some lessons as well. Yes. So Yeah, I think that's about
Wonderful.
it. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you ever so
Okay.
much.
Thanks.
I want to thank everybody for participating with this and for providing this information about their experience of Qigong to people. My hope is really with all of this and the videos that I'm going to be providing, and the updated videos, the ongoing new content, is to inspire as many people as possible to give the practice a try. It's a very simple, straightforward thing. There's nothing mysterious about it, but it really is an experiential practice. We get out what we put in, so I want to encourage people to just give this a try and see how they feel. With a little bit of practice, it makes a huge difference to the quality of life. So people with mobility challenges, physical challenges, but also people who may just be a little bit stressed in their day-to-day lives and want to find a practical method of relaxation and meditation, then it's a lovely thing. So I look forward to passing on, to the best of my ability, the understanding that I have of the practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shane. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I mean, it's really nice to hear.